let's go, let's go, let's go. Let's go. I'm here to say, face get checked like TSA. This is a PSA. Sports in my blood like DNA. We grinding for the chip like Frito-Lay. And I'm gon' let you know if he don't play. I promise this show will never be a bore. Checking out talent from Sea Keys to North Shore. All the way to North Shore. It'll never be a gimmick. Was at Aldine, now I'm at Nimitz. Kings in the city, we gon' need to wear a crown. You can bet us now, we the livest in H-Town. So while you tipping in your slab or your Chevy, or you chillin' in your Chevy, or you chillin' in
Hello, and we are live. We're back. It's 7 o'clock in Houston, y'all, and it's time to vent. I'm your host, Gentre Williams, joined by Darrian, Valsin. So much sports to cover over this weekend.
Oh, we're having
technical difficulties.
Yeah,
we get everything situated. And that was a little technical difficulties, but we got it situated. So a lot of sports to unwrap over the couple of since the week we had the show. The Bucks win the NBA championship. We have some big news coming from the next pro league. But first off, the biggest news in sports: Oklahoma and Texas are in the way of getting ready to move to the SEC. And Darrian, we grew up watching college football since we was kids, man. This is probably the biggest news in sports, period.
Yeah, I agree, man. It's been brewing for the past couple of days. And it kind of got steam because it kind of started off as like a slight little rumor, like, hey, Texas and Oklahoma could be on the move.
Right.
But within a couple of days, it just steamrolled into this big story. Now it's pretty much a done deal. So, you know, it's going to be interesting. It's going to create some new matchups, some new rivalries. Going to rekindle some old rivalries, obviously, with Texas A&M there in the Big 12, with Texas and OU. So, I mean, yeah, it's going to be some good football in the next couple of years.
Texas and amongst other schools, they joined the Big 12 in 1996. And then, you know, if you look at the Big 12 history, if, you know, just speaking on the football terms, if Oklahoma and Texas was to make that leap to the SEC, they've won 14 of the last 24 Big 12 championships. OU winning the last 6.
Yeah.
Texas, they haven't won the Big 12 championship since 2009. I think Texas, they're looking at A&M and seeing A&M their resurgence. Yeah, it's been a while since Texas won that.
Yeah. I was thinking,
they you know,
the Colt McCoy, yeah.
Ever since that Colt McCoy took that shot in the national championship game, that program they fell off majorly. And I'm just wondering if this is Texas' like last little hope they try to get back in contention as far as college football.
I mean, anybody that follows college football knows that the A&M, their ascension has become, you know, a story because of their move to the SEC.
Right.
It elevated their program to a point that never would have if they were still in the Big 12 properly. So, I mean, if you're Texas, you definitely kept your eye on the way A&M is growing as a program.
Right.
Kept your eyes on it and probably want a piece of that pie too. So yeah. I can't blame them for going out and getting it. Oklahoma, I'm a little surprised because, like you said, they've been dominating the Big 12. They've had no issues getting money, revenue. They just a couple years ago expanded their stadium to I think about 95,000.
90,000.
Yeah,
compact.
So the money's there. I mean, I'm a little shocked there with that. And like you said, their success, unlike Texas, their success on the football field has been good, except the lack of national championships. But I'm not going to bring that up. I did, but you know. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, Texas definitely wants a piece of the pie. I guess Oklahoma's just following.
Yeah, Oklahoma and Texas, they're joined at the hip. They've been joined at the hip since those colleges kind of came into Division I football and any sport generally. And, you know, we were speaking on this over the weekend, man. If Texas and Oklahoma, first we're going to talk about football. They join the SEC. A 2 or 3 loss SEC team could still make a championship run because that would be a gauntlet. You have to go to Texas, Oklahoma, A&M, LSU, Alabama, Auburn. That would be tough for any team.
Well, I think the first thing they're going to do is probably going to have to be some realignment with the conferences.
Definitely got to be.
I don't know if it was you or somebody said that Bama is. Well, I think Bama, they might have to move them to the east.
Yeah, Bama and Auburn will have to move east.
That'd make the most sense, honestly. But, you know, and then you have to also consider the smaller schools. I don't know what it's going to mean for the Vanderbilts and the Missouris and stuff like that. So
now, see, that's another, if you're Big 12, you're looking at Missouri. It didn't go well for them. Missouri's kind of.
Didn't they play in the SEC title game a couple years ago?
They did?
Yeah, they did. I want to say, was it 2011? when they played? No, because I think they played. I think Camden played South Carolina.
Yeah, Camden played South Carolina.
Oh, okay. Well, it was one of them years.
Probably when they had Drew Lock.
Drew Lock?
Yeah.
But I don't know.
I can't remember.
It wasn't that recent, though. It wasn't that recent.
I can't remember Missouri being a prominent program since they left the Big 12. I know in the Big 12, every now and then, even when they had Brad Smith for a couple years.
Well, yeah, they've been crash dummies ever since. But I'm just talking about, I could have sworn there was one fluke year they made it. If somebody knows, then just message that. But 2007?
2007.
No, they were Big 12 then. That was with Chase Daniel.
Yeah, they haven't.
That was the year they almost went to the national title. They were like number 2 for a while.
And that's an example of everybody trying to make this jump to the SEC. And you're looking at Missouri, they haven't. Basketball they've been all right, but football that's where everybody's chasing all the money and TV deals and everything.
Well, I mean,
Missouri hasn't.
Well, here's the thing. I think Missouri, you can look at the difference there because Missouri is Missouri,
right?
And then you got the University of Texas and Oklahoma. So they already have the revenue coming in. Right. So I think that them jumping with the conference of the prestige of the SEC is only going to help them, and I think they have the better basis on to be successful. Right. I don't know if Missouri, because I always felt like Missouri is more in Big Ten territory because they got that huge rivalry with Illinois. I would think that they would be more of a big. I've always said they're a Big Ten team.
More so.
So, but when you're going into Texas and Oklahoma, I think they have more in tune with that Southern style. Those type of athletes, those players, plus they bring the revenue in and the TV money. They bring in eyeballs. So I think they have a better template for success than Missouri does.
And speaking on Texas A&M, with Texas and Oklahoma trying to come to the SEC, Texas A&M athletic director was quoted as saying the reason why A&M joined the SEC was to create their own identity. And if Texas wants to come along in the SEC, A&M might try to reroute themselves.
To where?
That's what I'm trying to say.
Where you gonna go?
Yeah, I don't get
back to the Big 12. That's a sinking ship right now, buddy. OU and Texas just leaving. They might as well be the Mountain West now. But
Mountain West, good lord.
Yeah, I mean, you forgot about that conference. But yeah, that's what the Big 12 is going to become. But I don't know if you know this, but Texas did something like this. I'd say about 25 years before the Big 12. What eventually led to the Big 12. Texas.
It was in the Big 8, right?
No. The Big 8 is the Big 10 now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's no. Texas was in the Southwest Conference.
Southwest Conference.
Yeah, remember when they were talking about Arkansas, SMU, the great SMU, Arkansas, Baylor, TCU. They're the ones that jumped when they were forming the Big 12, and it literally led to the Southwest Conference dissolving. So I mean, if A&M wants to be spiteful of it, because we all know the reason they left the Big 12 was because Texas was little brother than them.
Get out of that Texas.
Yeah, they had to get out of that shadow. Right. For the most part, they were successful because they became a high tier program.
It was a sleeping giant though this whole time. That was a very big program, a lot of resources. I always felt like A&M got the right coaching, just right people around that program could make a strong resurgence as they have in the SEC.
Exactly, and they've done that. They just needed that one door to open. They need to get out of Texas' shadow. Right. But I don't even know if there's so much of a Texas shadow anymore.
No.
Because I think in the last 10 years, it's kind of dissipated. Now, the money's still in because at the end of the day, just like Notre Dame, just like USC, they're a brand.
Yes.
Brand's always going to make money. Brand's always going to bring revenue. That doesn't necessarily translate to success on the football field.
True.
But the profit's going to be there. And Texas is going to bring that.
Texas is going to bring that. And that was something you wanted to get to about Oklahoma and Texas joining the SEC. You were telling me about it right before the show.
Oh, no. I just said bring the smoke. I already know because, you deal with Texas. Like I said, I got family. My lovely sister and her fiance, they're Texas fans, Texas graduates. And, obviously that week one game. You
don't see them as a threat, really. As an LSU fan, you don't see.
No, I don't see it as a threat. I enjoy it for the trash talk. Because my sister always throws in, we make the most money as. I'm like, okay, well, you only won like one national title since cable came out. But, so congratulations on that. But, it's fun because, and just like with the Cowboys or, like the Texans, we're not necessarily in the same division, but because all the fans are in such close proximity, it just makes for a rivalry in an organic, natural way. So that's one of the reasons I'm excited about Texas coming in.
That would also kind of change the recruiting in the sense of, that Texas and LSU high school state championship game. I don't know if you guys watch it. It's like the best athletes from Texas play the best athletes from LSU.
Yeah.
It's been going on for almost 20, 30 years now. I always try to catch that game. LSU, that's gonna be a prominent game to watch now because you gonna have a rivalry of Texas versus LSU, A&M versus Texas. You gonna see a lot of recruits playing in that game right there.
Yeah, and we've talked about it numerous times. The area we're in right now, East Texas, it is a huge recruiting battleground between A&M and LSU, and Texas in some respects. So that only adds to the
starting to snatch up guys now. U of H, they're starting to snatch up some of these top, 4-star, 5-star recruits. Ed Oliver in the past couple of years.
Did they pay you for that? Is that a promo that? Are we getting paid for promos from U of H? I don't know what that was just random. I mean, no disrespect. I mean, but
yeah, U of H. They
I think they're probably in the That was random.
Yeah, I gotta give U of H a shout out.
But you're right. But I'm just playing around. But this is a very fertile recruiting ground.
Yes.
So you have those big programs. So them being in the same conference, possibly the same division, having those games, it just adds more to it. There's more stakes in play. So
adding higher stakes to play for the SEC, they're gonna be the biggest winner once Texas and Oklahoma join. I don't see any other conference competing. That's gonna kind of be like a mini NFL in a sense. That's where all the top recruits are gonna go because you want to play against the best. That's how you get better. Yeah. And speaking of sharpening their skills, I don't know if you guys been paying attention. Team USA, we have some problems.
You say it's sharpening skills.
Sharpening their skills because Team USA right now, man.
They dull as a marker right now, man.
I don't know what's happened over the past, 10, 15 years of basketball in general. Mm-hmm. International players have caught up to the American players. It's just that simple. If you look at Luka Doncic, we're going to get to Giannis, Nikola Jokic winning the MVP. Just look how international players are starting to take over the game. With us losing that last game to France, which is really not that big of a surprise if you really think about it, because France beat us in 2019 as well. I don't know why we didn't have our red flags. I don't know why those guys wasn't ready to play that. We was up 7, but just talk about that loss for Team USA, man. That's tough.
Ain't much for me to talk about. I wasn't out there playing. That's they embarrassed themselves.
Right.
I mean, there's going to be speculation about what factors are leading to them struggling. That's one factor I've heard. But then we also got to remember the quick layoff between off season and this season. Playing a more condensed, more season that's kind of might be wearing on their legs, and it might be showing in these international games. So, and obviously the one that I think that we have agreed on is the play style.
Right.
The difference in play style between the NBA that's been the last couple of years and the way that these international officials are calling these games. And then the cohesiveness of some of the players, the lack of defense, it's just a multitude of things. It's just making it into this disaster we're watching right now, because this is a disaster. Evan Fournier went off on. No disrespect. Evan Fournier is good, nice player,
nice
but
two-guard.
Come on now.
I mean, you can see it was a picture with Damian Lillard was standing behind Evan Fournier.
Just looking sad.
Damian Lillard just looking at, man, this dude is giving us business.
The business right now.
We can't stop Evan Fournier.
Yeah, I bet Brad Stevens sitting in the house like, what? We could have used that.
Yeah,
but
Dame was quoted as saying, like, players that when they play for their country, there's a lot more passion from these other countries and these other players playing for Spain or France. I'm not saying that the players aren't passionate. I don't want to, insect that. But
I don't like that comment. I don't like it. I'm gonna tell you why. Well, you got a point, because
I understand, but I just feel like coming up in the the AAU circuit now, we're just teaching these guys to become individual players, individual brands, and when they put on a USA jersey, I don't know if they're really united as it says on the jersey. Everybody's out there for their own brand.
Well, that's true. And then getting back to the comment that Dame made, I don't like it because it kind of opens up that whole Pandora's box of people who don't like the attitudes or the social justice activism of the players. You know that crowd. I'm not even gonna.
Yeah, I know.
You know who I'm talking about. Yeah. So it's just gonna help them, give them more of their argument that they shouldn't be playing for the United States. But don't hide behind that. Play for yourself. Play for the fact that you're out there, and play for you. The one that decides you want to go.
Right.
You could have said no. If not, just stay home.
Especially like Devin Booker and Chris Middleton. They just played in the NBA Finals, and they got there Saturday night.
Yeah, and Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday played hard as anybody, and he just got there, and he was a champion. He won.
Exactly.
So he's already a winner. But I just didn't like that comment, because if for anything, play for your own pride. If you're going to be there, play hard. That's the least you can do. That shouldn't be. That's something you learn as an elementary school as a player when you were little.
Playing in Little League and things
Exactly.
like that.
Play 100%. Don't half-ass it.
And that's kind of what I seen. I was watching the game and I was like, they're not playing defense. They're coming down, shooting threes, trying to foul bait. And that's how a lot of NBA games are nowadays. And we're just seeing how the international rules is completely different. It's a lot more physical. Yeah. And these guys are looking around like, maybe, this whole just perimeter three-point shooting thing is not making players better at all. We're actually digressing as a country in basketball.
We're digressing, and then like we've talked about the ISO ball. I mean, it's a different multitude of things. We're not NBA coaches, so we can't really dissect the way we want to and give like a more, accurate analysis. But just based on what we're watching, there's a definite difference in the way that the international games being called from the NBA, and these players are not. It's not translating for them, and it don't look like that. I'm trying to be optimistic about it, but it don't look like they're gonna fix it within their time that they're over in Tokyo.
No.
So, I mean, we
got an easy game coming out, and we should blow this.
What easy game? It ain't no easy games no more, baby. Ain't no more such thing as that.
And then we got Czech Republic, which should be 2 easy wins.
Any NBA players on our end?
Not that I can think of off the top.
You said Czech Republic?
Yeah.
I don't even know. I can't even put that on the map. So, but still,
it's tough right now as a USA basketball fan. And some of the articles I was reading on today, USA Today, Bleach Report, some players, they're not putting any names to the players. They're pointing at Popovich as saying he's too much of a system coach, that he's too you got to run this play, we got to run this set, you got to do it like this. And then there's some players, I don't know, maybe a Draymond, maybe a Durant, maybe a Lillard, that likes that free flow of a basketball game, let that rhythm come to him. And maybe, Popovich coaching is just not suited for players today. Maybe back in the early 90s, early 2000s, but players today coming up in the AAU circuit, been told they was great since they was 12 years old. It's hard to try to get those guys in a structured environment that Popovich likes to run.
Well, I didn't watch a whole bunch of the games. I watched a couple of minutes. I watched the last few minutes of the France game. That's how I told you that they end up losing that.
Right.
I'm watching and I'm like, I don't see any cohesiveness or any coaching at all. They look like they playing the style they want to play.
Right.
It looks like they just doing what they want to out there. I'm not seeing any.
I didn't see any sets. I'm not.
No, I'm not. So I'm wondering where. That just sounds like somebody's out there complaining. And if you're gonna complain, at least put your name on it. It's just that cowardly, keep me off the record stuff. I'm not trying to hear that.
Yeah, true.
Just take some accountability in the fact that y'all are not effective. Let's start there. So, I know that people would like to pile in, and I'm not no Spurs fan, obviously, but Popovich I have great respect for as a coach.
Top 5 coach of all time.
One of the greatest coaches to ever play. Can an argument be made that maybe some of what he does or some of what he feels might work is a little outdated? Sure, we can make those arguments. Right. But at the end of the day, when you sit there and watch those games, I'm not getting a team that's stifled or put in a box. They're doing what they want. The problem is that what they want to do sucks. That's the issue.
Getting beat by Evan Fournier.
He pieced off on him. It's ridiculous, man. You look like 08 Paul Pierce. That's why I say Brad Stevens. Look like Brad Stevens was. He's like, what the hell? Well, I ain't getting that.
Why can't that? What was that?
Because he gonna come back next year and just be the same.
Evan Fournier, 11, 12 points a game type too.
Yeah, exactly. So
that's tough, man. And
try harder, man. Just try harder.
As we got breaking news, I was just looking down at my phone. The Green Bay Packers, we've been following this for a while with Adam Schefter. Adam Schefter is reporting that the Green Bay Packers and Aaron Rodgers, they're in talks of an extension.
Oh.
This whole time they've been talking about trading him. He might not show up to camp.
Yeah. Ain't that something?
Now they're gonna try to extend Aaron Rodgers. What does this mean for Jordan Love? That was a wasted first round pick. You just got to the NFC Championship game going 13-3 with Aaron Rodgers. And
I was throwing up my hands and then I hit the mic stand and kind of hurt it, but I'm all right though. I'm just gonna finish making my point. You were right, and we were talking about that too. I don't know. I don't know if it means anything for Jordan Love. We said, you put a big investment in this guy.
Exactly.
He's gonna have to be your guy at some point. But if not, and you're saying, well, we would just rather move on with Aaron Rodgers, see what goes on from there. Maybe he might be on the trade block. Maybe he might be dealt somewhere. I don't know.
Not to be revisionist, but you could have, with that draft pick, taking a guy like Jordan Jefferson. Do you think Jordan Jefferson helps the Packers get over that hump?
Well, no, he was off the board by the time.
Jordan Jefferson off the board?
Yeah, he was off the board because Jordan Jefferson went to Minnesota. Minnesota had if I'm not mistaken, Because the Packers were near the end because Justin Jefferson was taking the middle of the first.
He sure was, but they could have got a playmaking receiver. Or
they could have got a
linebacker that could help them stop the run. But they chose to go with a guy that's probably going to be sitting on the bench and not holding the clipboard for the next 5 years.
And I don't see if you're going to have a first-round pick that's been sitting 5 years, so would it be like 27, 28 by the time? I don't know. I really don't. I don't know what was going through their heads. I don't know if they were trying to send a message. But here's an interesting story I always tell people, though. You know the 80s 49ers, right?
Right.
Okay. Joe Montana.
Yes.
Bill Walsh. So after, I believe, the 87 NFC divisional round, the 49ers, at that point, they'd been a dynasty. They had already won a couple Super Bowls. Mm-hmm. In 1987, it was one of the biggest upsets in NFL playoff history. They lost to the Minnesota Vikings at home.
Yes.
And after that year, there was talk about, is Joe Montana still that guy? Can Joe Montana still get it done? Is he still, that person? So, I might have my dates wrong. I think because basically what I was getting to was why Bill Walsh brought Steve Young in.
Right,
now he wasn't drafted. He was they had got a trade from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yes,
but he brought him in to kind of light a fire under him, and in those years, not too long after, I think he might have already been there about 87.
I know Steve Young. He was traded there.
Yeah, he was traded there. But the whole reason that Bill Walsh did it was obviously he wanted another great quarterback and have depth.
Right.
But Joe Montana, the talk was he was having injury issues.
Was he on his last legs?
Was he on his last legs?
Right.
So they brought him in, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it was around 80. Somebody going to have to check the dates. But he basically lit a fire under Joe Montana, which led to some of his best seasons ever because he always had Steve Young breathing down his neck. And Steve Young was not at all shy about the fact that he wanted to play.
Right.
He would actually go in the interviews talking about how he felt like he was a starter, how he felt like he could be the guy to lead this team.
Wow.
Whether Joe Montana was there or not.
Damn.
So my whole thought of the Jordan Love thing is like, okay, maybe somebody was taking something out of that playbook and was lighting the fire to Aaron Rodgers, which in a sense it kind of did because he did have one of his best years.
MVP.
Exactly.
Right.
So maybe that they got what they wanted out of him for that, but now it kind of backfired because now he's kind of pissed off and wants to leave.
That's a lot of you spent a first round pick on a backup quarterback. That's a lot.
It's a lot, man, and it's going to be a lot to
get rid of him.
Or just get to the point where you can say, you know what, we screwed up. Because them teams are ego driven. They're always going to hold on to that.
They're never going to say it in practice. They probably seen Jordan Love practice during training camp. Is like, this ain't going to cut it. They're not going to come out and say that. I mean, if Jordan Love was a guy, if he was good enough, Aaron would be gone already. If Jordan Love showed in practice that he can play with Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones.
But it's still Aaron Rodgers, though. He still was playing at a high level. I mean, even if Jordan Love was good, and it was like we were talking about last week with Alex Smith and Mahomes, there's a distinct difference between the two.
That's true.
Even if Jordan Love was a solid quarterback, because I'm sure that when Favre was there.
I seen Jordan Love at Utah. He was nice. He was decent. He could run
Utah State.
Utah State, right? Utah State. Sorry.
Well, you got the state right. I'm just messing with you.
He was at Utah State, and I was like, yo, this kid, he's nice. He had a little Kaepernick to him. That's what he reminded me a lot of. Kaepernick.
He got a lot of. With the quarterbacks we have now that are successful in the top of the league, he kind of fit that mold.
Right.
The mobile, great arm, throwing on the run, so you could do a lot with him. So I mean, the Packers weren't the only team that had interest. It
was just for the Packers and their situation. I don't understood them taking Jordan Love.
I still don't.
It's not Jordan Love getting drafted in the first round.
No, not at all.
The kid's talented, very talented quarterback.
But it's just a matter of how far is his development gone, and are the Packers confident in that development?
And for right now, if they wasn't sure of getting rid of, I know it's tough to move off of Aaron Rodgers, but they moved off of Brent Favre, so. If Jordan Love is not showing them something in practice, he needs a little bit more development.
Yeah, I agree. So we'll see on that one. But good for him. They signed him. So I guess the next drama that they have next year, because there's going to be more drama. This ain't over.
That's how the NFL get their views. And speaking of next, this is the event. We try to have you guys comment on all of our videos, social media, Instagram, Facebook. whatever you guys feel, just chime in, comment down on the section below, and we'll read it right back to you. And speaking of next, we here on Max Sports, we do cover the No Excuses Pro Basketball summer circuit.
Yes, sir.
And this weekend we had you said this was probably the most competitive weekend you've seen as far as the No Excuses League.
Absolutely, man. Especially that Sunday. It was like
Sunday was
down
crazy.
to the wire because we, as people don't know, we covered those 6 games that Sunday, and I think about 4 or 5 of them came down to the last possession. So
you win the overtime as well.
yes, it's some great basketball. It's, wonderful people down there. Shout out to Mr. Casey. He's been a great host for us.
Casey.
Does a wonderful job. So yeah, I mean, we always look forward. We've been looking forward from the time we first started there, and these playoffs are coming up soon, so
Yes,
it's going to be even good.
Sunday.
Man. It's going to be even good. You have some thoughts on it?
Well, I want to get your thoughts on league MVP. I have my league.
So your thoughts are, what are my thoughts?
Well, okay. if Max Sports, if we was to present an MVP of the No Excuse Pro League, and say we did a vote, my vote would be Marcus Hall. And Marcus Hall, and I don't think it's even like, I know Shannon Shorter had a special 62-point performance, breaking the No Excuses all-time scoring record, and that was phenomenal. That was a heck of a performance.
Yeah.
But how many games have you seen Grind for Mine start 20 points, 10 points, I don't know, 6 points, 8 points down because they didn't have enough guys to start, but yet they're in the top 3 in the rankings, and they're probably going to end up being one of the top 3-4 teams in the league, period.
Well, yeah. And once again, for people who aren't aware of what he means by that, they have a rule before every game. You have to have enough players from a certain team ready to play, as in dressed and ready on the court.
Right.
If not, if you don't have at least
Clock
5 ready by the time the clock going to start, and every minute that team's not ready, the other team gets a point.
Yes.
So Grind for Mine, I don't know what it is. I don't know if they just don't be reading the traffic reports. they players are always late to get in. So they've had a lot of situations where they've had to play catch up. It might have had some games where they would have won going away that they end up having to win close.
Right.
So yeah, Marcus Hall,
And if you guys don't know Marcus Hall, just look him up. He's played 13 years professionally. This is like 13 different professional teams. He's a professional scorer. He could go in the NBA, in my opinion, next year and probably average 15 to 18 points a game, probably more than that.
15 to 18. Huh?
He's a professional scorer, and it's good to see him with the ball in his hand. So, who's your thoughts on league MVP so far? I
can't, because I was gonna say Shannon, but you just poo-pooed that out of the.
I mean,
you said I know Shannon, but Shannon.
I'm not disagreeing.
I mean, 60
I
points
get
is
the
60
Shannon
points.
Shorter. He's a strong case.
And you know what I like about
he's
Shannon?
A driving energy.
He kind of is like he fits that mold of players I like. He's not necessarily he just doesn't wow you athletically.
Right.
But he has a. I hate to use that word because not everybody using it. He has a bag. I don't like taking people's verbiage that becomes popular because it just seems just
What's
so
wrong with saying he has a bag?
Because everybody else saying it now. I don't want to be one of them people. I'm not a follower. So anyway, yeah, Shannon. He's not going to wow you with his overwhelming athleticism. He's not a physical freak, but he's crafty. He can move with the ball. He's smart. And he gets his points. He's a basket getter too. 60 points now.
Yeah, he's a professional scorer as well.
Yes, sir.
He plays overseas in China.
Yeah.
And that guy, every time he gets the ball, he gets a smaller guard. He just posts him up. He plays no games with the ball in his hand.
Absolutely not.
Anytime he has a mismatch, he's clearing guys out the way. Hey, I gotta move. And it's so fun watching Shannon Shorter play. And some other guys, Malik Amos.
That's my guy.
I love watching Malik Amos. And I hope Malik's, having a speedy recovery. He took a hard fall this weekend. We hope he make a speedy recovery.
Absolutely.
That kid right there, he's a bucket getter himself. He had a snatchback that you guys are going to see on our top 10, as I think Zach's playing our top 10 right now. And you guys are going to see our top 10, man. Malik, this guy handles his next level. He plays with the Harrison twins on the defenders, they can beat anybody in the tournament come playoff time.
Yeah, I agree. They definitely are. And we said this, they have so many different things that you need in order to win. They have size, have athleticism, scoring. And Malik is, obviously the Harrison twins are the stars because, the name recognition. But Malik.
Holyfield and Griffin, they be...
Yeah, that's what I mean. The size, Big Holyfield, real deal, as I like to call him.
The real deal, yeah.
Yeah, because from the boxer, but that's what they used to call Evander Holyfield, the real deal Holyfield. So, I guess DJ, he's a little older, so he understands that reference. But
right.
Anywho, yeah, but Malik, not only is he great handles, he's a great shooter, man. And when he gets fired up, he gets that shot going. Hey, it's showtime. So I remember that first week, man. He lit it up.
Man,
he's fun to watch. Definitely fun to watch.
Speaking of Showtime, there's a guy. His team didn't play that well, but Showtime Allen, the show, man, that guy's a legend at the Fondy. That guy, he could fill it up as well. He's one of the more prolific scorers in the next Excuse League as well.
And you know what's funny? And there's no disrespect to him because I'm not trying to disrespect nobody, but he doesn't look like when you look at him. He's a shorter but stout type of dude. Very stout dude. So he looks like the type of who'd be more of a banger on the inside,
more of a hustle player.
Yeah, kind of like that. But he's another guy who can definitely score at will too. Another one. So
that league is filled with very talented players.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could keep name Corey Brewer. Dropping 53. We know what Corey.
Well, yeah. I mean, Corey. That's
Corey. But there's another guy on that team, Jordan Allen. He had 42 on Friday night. That kid can fill it up. There was a point in the third quarter with him and the Harrison Twins. They was going back and forth, just matching 3-point buckets, going back and forth, and it was one of the best shooting. And this is NBA threes. These aren't college threes. These guys are pulling up from NBA three. Him and the Harrison Twins in the third quarter Friday night. Go check it out. Those guys had a heck of a shooting performance.
Absolutely. Max Sports TV, Facebook, YouTube. Man, it's great basketball. It's been great basketball for the last couple of months, and only just that much better. Just more basketball ahead.
Yeah. Tune in this Thursday, this Friday, and also Sunday. We will cover the No Excuses Pro Basketball League as we get ready for a tournament in the playoffs. This is going to be some of the best pro-am basketball, period. Not just here in Houston, but in the country, period. This is some of the best basketball players. And moving on, speaking of the best basketball players, there was a champion crowned last week with the Milwaukee Bucks, and I just want to get your insight on, how does Giannis now, he has 2 league MVPs, Defensive Player of the Year, Finals MVP, an NBA championship. Him, Michael Jordan, and Hakeem Olajuwon are the only 3 players to win Finals MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and MVP.
Right.
Just, what does this mean for Giannis? Is he starting to show that he's carving out his own lane in NBA history as an all-time great?
Well, I mean, yeah, he's been doing that before the title too. So, you can't argue against Defensive Player of the Year, MVPs, Finals MVP, NBA champion, and doing it at such a young age, man. I give absolute all credit to him because there's a very short list, and as you just named it,
right?
And I know that people get caught up in rankings and top 5, who's this, who's that. But as of right now, I mean, you're at the top. He's at the top.
He's at the top.
He's at tip top. He's the last team standing. He had an incredible performance. What was it, 50 and 13?
Yeah,
I mean,
that's 50 points
in a closeout game in the NBA Finals. Your very first NBA Finals. I mean, there's nothing you can really say on that. Even as a person who might not be a bigger Giannis fan, I mean, you can't downgrade or discredit what he did. It was absolutely amazing on both ends of the floor because he was great defensively too.
Giannis made a believe out of me. I was one of the biggest Giannis critics you will ever find. Yeah. That year, I think it was like 2019. I thought James Harden, or 18. I thought that was James Harden's MVP, but there was a narrative about Giannis, and ever since then, I've been very critical about Giannis. Very critical.
You want to get in that, look in the camera and apologize? I mean, you can't.
I mean, I do.
Maybe he not watching. Maybe he is. Maybe somebody he knows.
That when I watched that Game 7, that performance, that 50-point performance there in the fourth quarter, I was just like, this guy is an all-time great. He's playing hard on both sides of the floor, and there was a moment at the end of the game when he was celebrating where he went over and he sat down and he just soaked in all the moment, and you just see him, the tears from his hard work, and he did a video. I don't know if you ever seen it. It was him. He was talking to reporters. He was like, look around me. There's nobody around. Nobody's around me. And then for him to have that moment with the crowd cheering and him getting that championship, I was just like, I was so happy for that man right there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. When you were talking about the one sit down, I mean, obviously he wanted to soak in, but I think he was just tired.
Yes.
He was, man, he left it all on.
He had like, 5 blocks in that game as well?
Absolutely. He had some rejections on. Like, he just come out of nowhere. I know what they're going to talk about, the block on Aton in Game 4, but he's just been doing that all through the series. He's
been doing that almost his whole career.
Exactly, and he was spent, and he took that load off and just soaked it in, and hey, it was well deserved, man. All credit to him.
I could respect because from him, he didn't come into the league that built. If you look at Giannis,
no, yeah.
When he first came to the league, he was a skinny little kid. He put on that muscle. He worked his tail off to get like that. Yeah. And for him, as much as he's improved, and then at the free throw line, to go 17 of 19 in a closeout game, was that like 89%?
You know what? And I'm not saying I was, but in terms of criticizing Giannis, that was one of the bigger things because it came down to, is he that guy that you can depend on in the crucial times, or do you have to take him out because he's such a liability at the free throw line?
Man,
he definitely shut up a lot of people, and I give him all the credit for being able to step up and make those free throws, and just a total, absolute encompassing of everything that they needed from him.
Right.
He delivered in a big way. So shout out to him, man.
Shout out to him. And, on the other side of the coin, there was the Phoenix Suns suffering a loss. Watching the game towards the fourth quarter, I was looking at Devin Booker's footwork, and he seemed very choppy. His feet didn't ever settle towards the end of the game. Every time he came off a ball screen, he had the ball, and I just seen his feet just chopping.
Yeah.
I'm like, the moment's getting to him. And then every time Ayton touched the ball, he just didn't know what to do with it anymore. It was like
obvious.
Their youth came to show there at the end. You seen Jay Crowder, who's a veteran, making the hustle plays, trying to get the extra possessions. But I think Phoenix, I don't want to say they wasn't ready, but it was their first time really being in that situation.
Right.
And maybe it was just too much for those young guys. Phoenix should not hang their head. I know Chris Paul, this seemed like his last little go around, but I think Chris Paul is going to get back in the gym, work his butt off, continue to get better, and he's going to be, try to put himself back in that situation. But for Phoenix, where do you go from here?
Well, the best you can do is just pack it up and get ready for next year. I mean, what do you do? But to your point about Devin Booker, I'm totally in agreement with that. I think in the later part of the series, I think what we seen from Devin Booker was him just growing uncomfortable.
Right.
Because from, I'd say, like, after Game 4, that they decided to put Drew Holiday more on him as a defender.
He had like back-to-back 40 points.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, then they put Drew Holiday as a primary defender assignment.
Shout out to Drew.
Yeah.
Drew,
another amazing performance he had there. Now he's in the Olympics doing the same thing. But going to your point about youth, there's some truth to that because they were guys. Not only that, it wasn't like they had a lot of playoff experience anyway.
Their first playoff
run ever. Yeah, after being a team just sitting in the bottom of the Western Conference standings, so going to that and making that transition, it was difficult. I think they handled it pretty well, but going back to being young, inexperienced, then you kind of dealing with. I think once the Bucks tied that series, I think that's when it really got nerve-wracking for them and the doubts set in, because there was a distinct difference between those first two games and the last four with Devin Booker.
Budenholzer making adjustments.
Yeah, he did. He made adjustments.
Budenholzer lots of credit. There was.
Did you? What did you call him?
Is it Budenholzer?
That sounded like you said booty holder. Is that what you said? Just call him Coach Bud. We don't need.
I can't call him Coach Booty Holder.
No, Coach Booty Holder. No, you can't call him Booty Holder because he holding the trophy. Booty Holder if he got knocked out in the first round again.
I'm gonna call him Coach, but I don't be.
Yeah. I could have. I mean, I know these headphones, but yeah. Hey, Zach, maybe we do need to do something else with the audio, man. I could have sworn I heard Booty Holder.
But Coach Bud did a great job of making an adjustment because his job was on the line. There were some people that said if he didn't win the championship, that the Bucks they was gonna get ready to.
Yeah, I mean,
off his way, but for him to come back and make those adjustments in that type of situation, shouts out to Coach Bud.
Yeah, most definitely, because his butt was on the line, man. The booty holder. But he's always been a great coach. Yeah. I thought he got a bad rap in Atlanta because he made.
Didn't they win like 60-something games?
Yeah, they won 6 games with teams with a team that
Josh Smith, Joe Johnson,
DeMar Carroll, like guys who just won the Superstar. So he had a track record of showing that he can, make the most out of nothing.
Right.
So I always thought he was a really good coach. So good for him that he made the adjustments that led to a championship because he's a championship coach. And he proved that.
He proved that he was a championship coach, and the Bucks proved that, for the foreseeable future, they're going to be a championship team. They're going to be for the next 5 to 8 years. As long as Giannis is there, every year you're going to have to go through Milwaukee at some point.
Well, I mean, we talked about this off air.
Right.
The one looming thing is going to be the health of the Brooklyn Nets.
Right.
Because let's keep in mind, as dominant of performance they had, they were one long Durant toe from being eliminated.
Right.
And that was a team. Exactly. So, and that was a team that wasn't even fully healthy. That was with half of James Harden and no Kyrie Irving.
Yes, that's true.
So I think, obviously Milwaukee's going to is the class of the Eastern Conference, but Brooklyn is right there.
Championship experience changes teams.
It does. It does. It does. But I mean, talent means something too.
Right.
It's not getting too confused. And Brooklyn's got plenty of it. So it definitely is going to still be a dogfight for the East. Obviously Milwaukee's in the driver's seat, but it's still some contenders. And if Philly could get their own mentals out the way.
Oh man, Philly. If they don't make a trade, if Damian Lillard is on the block, if Damian Lillard wants out of Portland, and if you're Philly and you don't just ship Ben Simmons out of there and just get paired Dame with Joel Embiid, I think you have a legit shot at coming out the East if you do that. But if you don't, if you don't do that, you're staying.
You don't think with Simmons and Embiid, it's not.
No, I don't. It's proven they don't work together at all. Two big men they both need their own space.
But you know what? I think that honestly, the thing that struck me with Ben is that he needs to do what I told you that I was pleased that Giannis did.
Right.
Stop trying to be a guard. You're not a guard. You're a big man.
That's true.
Whether you think that you are big, act like one. Bang in the post. Do that. You're 6'10".
He has a nice hook shot as well. I don't know why he doesn't use it more.
I don't know either. He can. You have the athleticism to be a guy who can dominate in the post. I can understand if you're a big lumbering dude, but you have athleticism, you have size, you have length, all that stuff. Be a big. You're not a point guard. Cut it out. So I think that it's a mental thing with Ben. I think Ben has a huge amount of potential. Obviously, he's not the shooter, but
he's never going to be.
No, absolutely not. But he's got the athleticism. He's got the size. He just has to harness that into something more useful and effective.
He's a top 5 playmaker, and he's a top 5 defender.
He can still, you can still be a big man and be a playmaker.
Look at Jokic.
Exactly. There you go. So I'm not going to count Ben out quite yet.
Right.
But it wasn't a good look. Hopefully that was a lesson learned for him.
Yes.
Going forward.
Moving forward for Ben Simmons.
Yes, sir.
And something else, I just want to get to with the NBA. There was some breaking news. A trade. This is kind of like a no. Like, this trade makes no sense for me. Period. The Memphis Grizzlies has agreed to trade Jonas Valanciunas and some picks to the New Orleans Pelicans for Eric Bledsoe, Steven Adams, and some more draft picks.
Well,
if you're Memphis, getting Eric Bledsoe for what? You got Ja.
Yeah, here's the thing, and I talked to you off camera about this too.
Right.
Obviously, I'm a Saints fan, so being a Saints fan, I be on Twitter a lot. I'm on Twitter. I talk and interact with a lot of other Saints fans who live in New Orleans and happen to be Pelicans fans too. They hate Eric Bledsoe.
They hate him?
Oh, they hate him. He's public enemy number one.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did not have a good season last year with them. That's part of the reason why Stan Van Gundy, they were happy to see him fired, because he was starting them over. I'm trying to think
Lonzo
of the guy.
Ball?
No, not Lonzo. This guy they have named Kira Lewis.
Okay, this is my first time hearing about.
Yeah, Kira Lewis. So in terms of the fan base, they're definitely happy to see Eric Bledsoe go. So
right.
Once again, I'm a Saints fan, but I'm not. I was a Rocket fan way before the Pelicans were even a thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not really emotionally invested with them. Hopefully, Valanciunas. I didn't know that the Grizzlies were really shopping him either. But he's in New Orleans now. I don't know how it's going to work with him and Giannis. We'll see with that dynamic.
Zion.
I said Giannis, didn't I? Wow. Anyway,
they kind of play the same.
Well, yeah, but we'll see how everything works with Giannis in terms of the post. But they're not going to be a contender for the foreseeable future. So it's a misnomer.
Both teams are in the same conference, same division. If they're just mixed trading players it's one of those trades. I'm just like, that's just a trade just to be trading.
Yeah, Steven Adams, man, I
feel bad. I thought he was, a very serviceable, good center.
Yeah.
If he gets to a team that's in the championship window, say like a Boston, would be a good spot for him. Where he can really show people that, in my opinion, he can give you a good 15 to 10 a night.
Right. But I guess it just didn't work out with him, and I don't know if it was a change of system or philosophy with Steven Adams, but it just didn't click in New Orleans for any reason. Now, going back to the New Orleans fans I follow, It was some okay stuff about him that they said, and then there was some negative because a lot of them are just naturally pessimistic. But yeah, hopefully hopefully with Memphis he can find his footing just like he did in OKC.
And that'd be special for him.
Yeah.
And something else I wanted to get to very quickly with the NBA.
Mm-hmm.
The NBA draft is this Thursday. The Rockets we do have the number 2 pick, and we also have the 21st and the 23rd pick.
Mm-hmm.
And the Rockets are looking to package the 21st and the 23rd pick with Eric Gordon. At first, we were trying to package the 2nd pick with Eric Gordon and get the number 1 pick, but now we're trying to get the 11th and 13th pick supposedly. I think the Rockets are really trying to make a move for Cade Cunningham. That's who the Rockets
they can try, but I'm looking at like the 23rd and the 21st pick and Eric Gordon. Is that going to really move? I mean, is that moving me?
No, it's not moving.
I have the number 1 pick. I could get a guy right now that could make a change for my franchise and energize my fan base. And here y'all are giving me late round picks and Eric Gordon. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. I mean, I just think the Rockets should be a lot more realistic here. You got the number 2 pick.
Right.
Go ahead and take your guy. I mean, whether that's Green, whether that's Mobley or
watching that series, watching Milwaukee win, I'm starting to think Evan Mobley, because it's going to be about stopping Giannis for the next 5-6 years.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you don't think that
I mean, Green has that Zach LaVine type potential. Where he could win a dunk contest, be a star of the team. But if you have an opportunity to get a big man or a 7-footer that can really defend and really change shots at the rim, those guys very rarely come around.
I agree. We do need inside presence that can defend. I mean,
and he has defensive player of the year potential.
You going that far, huh?
Yeah, he has defensive player of the year potential.
I'm not going to put that pressure on that young man. I'm not going. I'm just going to say I hope he does well and is a starting caliber player. That the Rockets help. They help the Rockets to a foundation for a good future.
Right.
I'm not going to put those them high expectations. I just want a really good player that's going to help us win.
That's all we want, man. Because last season was tough, man. That was.
I don't remember the Rockets being there. It's just so weird. Like they just
our whole childhood, the Rockets never been that bad.
No, cause, I mean, the year before they got Yao.
Yeah, that was the one time.
That was when they already got rid of Hakeem. But we were in. So, but other than that, we're
used to being a playoff team every year. Or at least fighting for it. You know what I mean?
Exactly. For the last 15 years, that's been the case. So. Yeah, hopefully, but at the same time, we've got to stay patient.
Yes.
We got to stay the course. Don't do anything just like we were talking about last week with them possibly making a deal for Dame, which I disagree with.
I hope we don't
stay the course, and for the betterment of the franchise, don't do anything ridiculous. Don't do a quick fix. A rebuild is a rebuild. Because if you keep rebuilding and you try to do a quick fix, it doesn't work out, then you're rebuilding for another 10 years. So just be patient. That's all I could ask.
Be patient. That's all the Rockets got to do. And again, I want to say thank you for everyone for tuning in today for the event. This is about you guys' opinion, you guys being able to express yourselves. And we already ran out of time, man. This show always goes by quick for us.
Yeah, we did, man. I guess we do have a lot to talk. You always worried about us not having enough time to fill in. I told you, just let me talk and let you talk. We're going to get it done every day, man. Yes. We're going to get it done.
Oh, we going to get it done. And I want to say thanks. Give a huge shout out to Max Sports and Zachary Fordyce back down as our producer, man. Zach, man, he puts all this together with the graphics and everything he does, man. And this is going to do it for us today here on the event. Tomorrow we have an even more special show coming for you guys. I want to say thank you again for joining us. We're about to sign out. I'm Gentre Williams. This is Darrian Valsin. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Peace. Have a great night.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'm here to say, face get checked like TSA. This is a PSA. Sports in my blood like DNA. We grinding for the chip like Frito-Lay. And I'm gon' let you know if he don't play. I promise this show will never be a bore. Checking out talent from Sea Keys to North Shore. All the way to North Shore. It'll never be a gimmick. Was at Aldine, now I'm at Nimitz. Kings in the city, we gon' need to wear a crown. You can bet us now.